Holy cousins, third phase moon, we have a helicopter buzzing over the house. I don't know, it looks like the Coast Guard with a pail of water underneath. And I don't know, it just landed right outside our house over here. And you might hear some buzzing going on. It's flying away. That's so weird. A Coast Guard helicopter just landing right here in our backyard on the Big Island of Hawaii. And it looks like it's on some kind of mission to put out a fire. Not sure where the fire is coming from, what it's all about, but I've got a feeling we're going to be hearing some more of this helicopter tonight. Wow. Okay, I got Brett Cousins out there. He's going to be filming the action. Hopefully we could share that with you, and hopefully it's all good. Coast Guard helicopter flying above Third Phase Moon as we broadcast live to you from around the world. Welcome, everybody. If you've got something you want to share tonight, a story in regards to the UFO alien phenomenon, call in the number 347-934-0378. That's the number to call in, and let's start bringing them in. It looks like people got some stories to share, and let's hope that there's no fire in our neighborhood so we can continue to broadcast. Okay, here we go. Let's go to unlisted phone number. Welcome to the show. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Welcome. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Okay, so I just started watching your channel several months ago and started watching some other channels, and it just started jogging some memories for me. So I'd say about 20 years ago, one day I was walking down the hallway and I just had kind of a unsettling feeling, we'll say. And I had this sort of this feeling like I was going to faint as I was walking down the hall, but it wasn't I was going to faint. It was just like that. It was these strong vibrations. It almost felt like I walked through something or something walked through me. But as a child, I often got these, I don't want to say fainting spells, but I almost fainted a lot. It's just something that happened a lot as I was growing up. It felt similar to that, but way stronger. And then because of the creepy feelings I had, I thought, well, I'm going to sleep on the couch tonight. And just a little bit of backstory. I grew up seeing things from the time, I don't want to say since a baby because I don't remember being a baby, but since I was a young child, I've always seen things. So when I say I felt uneasy, that's usually what happens before I end up seeing something. I'll just get an uneasy feeling, and I never liked it. It scared me through my whole childhood and teen years. And so, anyways, I was walking down the hallway, and I had this uneasy feeling, and then I had one of those, it felt like an almost fainting spell, but it was so different than what I always experienced. It actually felt like I walked through something or some vibrating thing went through me. And so that night I thought, well, I'll sleep on the couch. I thought I'd feel better there rather alone in my room. I don't know what time at night it was, but I was jolted awake, and at the foot of the couch by my feet, I seen this thing. And I've seen a lot of things in my life, but I've never seen anything like this before, and it scared the crap out of me. It was really short, probably shorter than the height of the arm on the couch, and it had a mushroom head, and it was really small, 2 feet or something. And the thing that scared me most is it had these big black eyes, but in the Hollywood movies they show big almond eyes. But it wasn't like that. They were black, you couldn't see pupils or anything, but they were more wrap around its head. It's hard to explain. And it almost had a rainbow of colors on the outside of the mushroom part of its head. But all of the colors were washed with gray. It's hard to explain. It would be if you painted a rainbow and then painted black or gray over it. You could just barely see these colors around its mushroom head and its tiny body, but it's like they were not the regular colors. It was like dirty colors. And anyways, it scared me. So I kind of like jumped up and went to the head of the couch, like as far as away from it as I could get. And I had an aunt who was married to a pastor at the time, and my whole family knew about the stuff I seen my whole life, although it was not like that. That's the first time they said it was a demon. So she said, when you see things, tell it to go. So I started doing that, and telling things to go does make them go. I hope I don't sound crazy. I'm a really sane person. And if it wasn't for listening to some of this stuff, and I just watched the Betty and Benny Hill, and so much stuff they said, like,
the Betty and Barney Hill story.
Yeah, and so if it wasn't for this past couple of months, I've gone 20 years thinking, thinking I would never find out. And as I'm listening to this stuff, I'm like, wait a second, this sounds like what I've seen, but I don't know. That's why I wanted to call in. I want to know what you think, actually. I know I'm telling a story, but I never thought I would get this opportunity to ask somebody, what did I say?
Well, I'm so glad you called in. I'm so glad that you're sharing this, and you know, you're not special. Let me tell you, it seems like it's a special thing when you're encountering something like this, and you're just out. Yeah. This is not usual, but you know, there's so many people out there that are experiencing the exact same thing you are. They're just afraid to talk about it, and that's the problem. Even Betty and Barney Hill had the exact same problem. Not only back in the day, there were an interracial couple, which was controversial back then. Then they had this UFO alien sighting and encounter, and people discredited them unbelievably. But they had a lot of evidence, and they stuck to their story. That's the whole thing. People, they know what they're seeing. They know that they're not crazy, but when they start talking about it, people will look at them and ridicule. And so it's so amazing that you're calling in and sharing your story. I'm hoping you feel good about it, because I think it's important that people get this off their chest. If you know, it's not easy to keep this inside all the time.
Can I tell you one other thing? With all the stuff I've watched and all the Googling I've done, see, when I searched for Google mushroom head, short, gray, with black eyes, you can imagine what pops up. Several years after that, and see, I'm the only one in my family this stuff really happened to, and they were born-again Christians, so their answer to everything was go in Jesus' name, and I'm an atheist, and that just didn't work for me. For some of the things I was seeing, it just wasn't making sense. So this one night, I was going to bed, and I thought, I feel safe tonight, I feel comfortable. You know, we had the whole family over, we watched some Christian movies, and I just thought, well, the house must really be full of the Spirit, and I'll have a good sleep, and I won't see anything tonight. And just as I was going to sleep, I got that feeling, and I was like, oh, come on, you know, no, I don't want to see anything else. And there was this crazy thing I seen. So it was like a test tube upside down. It was like a cylinder, and it was hovering off the ground. It was probably about 4 or 5 feet tall, 4 I'd say. And the sides, if you were to take a ruler with a pencil and draw a straight line, that zigzag compared to how straight these lines were. And even the dome on the top was, I just remember like how perfect everything was. But it was pulsating colors from the inside outwards. And it's hard to explain, but the colors were like as if there was a light switch on inside the colors, like vibrant's not even the word. It was like the colors were alive or something, and they would pulsate, so it would go like purple, orange, pink, and it would just rotate between those colors. And I was not scared. It was the first time in my life I ever seen anything, and I wasn't scared at all, but I was so confused. So I said what my aunt told me to say because I thought it was the Christian thing to do, and it was the devil, as they said. So I said, go in Jesus' name, and as everything always did. And I don't think it's Jesus' name because I'm an atheist, but I could be wrong. I feel like if you say stop or go, at least in my experience, things have stopped and subsided. Probably immediately after, I regretted it because I wasn't scared, and I'm never going to know for the rest of my life what the hell that was. It didn't scare me. I just wish I would have tried to touch it, or it was just so bizarre, though. And there's nothing on Google like that. I've never heard anyone else say anything like that. I mean, that I also experienced.
Wow, that's interesting. Let me back up a little bit. You were explaining this encounter with like a 2-foot being that had a head shaped as a mushroom. Would you consider that this thing was a possible, like, some people say that these aliens are not maybe just biological, but they could be plant-like or maybe even some kind of fungi. What do you think? Was this thing biological? Was it intimidating to you? Did it make any kind of weird sound?
It was very intimidating. The part that was scary was, I mean, not like I tried to look in its eyes, but I mean, I couldn't help but notice these black. It just, the sense I got from it, if I got anything, was it was almost like, I don't want to say like they're there, but they're not there. Like, it's like if someone's staring at you, you can usually get a judge on their face if, like, there was nothing there. Like, it was like unreadable, and it was just this like stare right at me. Like any of the ghosts or spirits I've ever seen throughout my life, and I've seen them since as far back as I can remember, they never present themselves and stare at you. You might see them, but they don't. This thing was like staring at me while I was sleeping. It was it gave me bad vibes. It scared the crap out of me.
Yikes. Yeah, that would scare me too, trust me. Yeah, a cold stare, locked in position with your, and then what were you? Were you kind of frozen at that time? It's kind of an experience people call the Oz factor, where you're just basically in a paralysis. You can't move.
I've had that many, many, many times when I've seen this, like, ghosts or whatever you want to call them as a kid, and then, like, you only are paralyzed for me, a quick second, and then I do the same thing. I just jump to, like, the top of the bed, and then I, like, gather myself and shut the door or turn a light on, or but I wasn't frozen. At that time, I was so scared, I didn't want to be anywhere near it, so I had just kind of, like, from a laying down position in, like, a nanosecond, jumped to the head of the couch and was, like, kind of like in a little ball, like, you know, holding my legs so that I just could keep as much of me away from it. And it was really short. That was because at that time I had no idea about any of this alien stuff. Like, I wouldn't say I believed or disbelieved, but, like, I was not in the know of anything then. The only thing I knew about gray aliens were what you see in Hollywood. I thought they were, you know, 6, 7, 8 foot tall. So that's why I went all these years thinking I didn't know what to think, because this thing was really small. So, you know, it's like I didn't see something.
That sounds like an alien gray that you saw. The black eyes, the grayish toned skin. This is a dead ringer for a gray alien. Do you think, or have you seen any mysterious possible marks on your body after this experience?
No, I don't think so. No.
Sure. Well.
And I read too, or I watched too, I don't know if it was on your show, but someone said if you've seen a gray, chances are you've been abducted. I would say for certain I have not been. I mean, I have nothing in me that, you know, which is why it's so bizarre, because you always hear about people that are frequented. I've never seen anything like that in my life except for one time. And, I mean, it's kind of cool now that I'm like, you know, it wasn't cool then, but now I think it's cool, like, whoa, did I have an experience too? Because until I started listening to your show and all this stuff, it was just a mystery to me. I thought I would never get answered of what that was.
Well, I'm not exactly sure where these guys are coming from. Some people say they're interstellar, coming from out there visiting us. Some people say they're interdimensional beings, or some people say they're our ancestors from millions of years ago that are still around, maybe from the future, the present, time traveling, visiting us. So we at Third Phase of Moon, we're not claiming we know exactly what these things are, but we know that the phenomenon is real and it's true, and millions of people around the world are experiencing this. Let me ask you, so this thing was 2.5 feet. It had large eyes. You ran in a split second from this thing. Did you think about maybe confronting it, going for a weapon? How much do you think this thing weighed?
No. Can you imagine seeing something like that? It's like so shocking that beyond fear, you're like, it's like the highest form of confusion. You know, I was just scared and confused. I didn't think of doing anything. I was just, lost for thought even.
Well, don't feel bad, because we've heard of military officials that have some of these gray beings in their possession, and they've shown them to people that have never seen them for the first time, and there's been some adverse reactions when they first encountered this upon their own naked eye. They have a massive heart attack. They can't take it. Their brain responds in a way that creates some kind of aneurysm or a heart attack or something, that maybe we're not meant to see these things, and other people are.
I think, like, when you look at someone face to face, whether they're a good person, bad person, whether you vibe with them or not, you can at least read people. As an adult, you can at least kind of gauge people, even if they don't say anything. I could see why people go through that or have those adverse reactions because, well, first of all, there's no pupil. It's just these vacant but alive at the same time black eyes that are, like, is there someone behind there? Is there not? Like, they're just so big and black and empty. It's really,
Yeah, it's kind of strange indeed. Yeah, you made me think just when you mentioned pupil. They don't have any pupils. That's a fact that has gone into the description of these aliens with their large black eyes. But the reason behind it is, now I wonder what the reason is. Maybe they see better at night. Maybe their iris is so open that their whole pupil just dilates so extremely large that they could basically, see at night maybe see other dimensions, or maybe through you. Who knows? I wonder what the big black eyes are all about.
Yeah, and they wrap around. Like, a lot of the stuff show the almond eyes. These were like just a little not so slanted, but definitely more longer in terms of wrapping around the head. And that's another thing I found really odd is I don't hear a lot of people referring to the mushroom heads, but it was a very pronounced mushroom head. Like, it wasn't a longer, thinner, human type shape. Like, it was definitely like a very distinct, like, mushroom head looking thing. Almost no neck.
Yeah.
And slim, like slender almost.
That's interesting. My brother and I had an experience when we were about 3 to 4 years old, and we had some small little gray beings coming into our room. And this mushroom-shaped head. It was a weird-shaped head. We called it. Well, it was just strange. It was strange, and the mushroom shape kind of comes to mind. It is amazing. So, how are you still experiencing this being or any UFO phenomenon as of lately?
To be perfectly honest with you, it really got so out of control with all of this stuff that, it sounds so crazy. It got so crazy, especially as a teen. I don't know what was going on, but my mom, she'd tried so many counseling, psychics, anything to, like, figure out what was going on. And probably around the time I was 20-ish, someone gave me some advice and said, something about where I put my attention, and if I want to close the door, I can close the door. And I've largely closed the door to most of it, and I am free from seeing anything. I still have unusual experiences, but in terms of seeing things, I don't see things anymore. I really went out of my way to kind of close the vibration or whatever this woman, advised me to do in terms of taking steps to, I don't want to say denouncing it, but I'm having a hard time explaining it. But from what I was told, you can choose to say, I don't want these gifts or this ability or these experiences anymore. And I really haven't had a whole lot of them in, probably 10 years.
Yeah, that's interesting that you might have the power to, basically in the beginning of an encounter like this, have no control over it. But afterwards, if you will it not to happen anymore, maybe they have a sense, again, to understand your way of thought on this, and you might not be into it, and they might sense this and go, yeah, well, we'll move along to somebody else. Who knows? It's just kind of interesting how your mind could shut it off and on at that point. Well, you know what? Keep in touch. I got a feeling you might be having some more encounters in the future. You just never know. And you let us know if that happens. You never know. And wow, what a great first caller. I appreciate you calling in.
Thank you. It was so fun. I never thought I would get an answer for any of this stuff. And, decades later, I'm, it's having a cool ending. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, and we're going to be sharing your story to the world, so it's quite amazing. I want to get your comments of what you thought this caller's experience was all about. Have you seen anything like this, the mushroom head-shaped alien being, 2 to 2.5 feet approximately? I want to get your opinions on that. We got more callers coming in. I see some area codes lining it up, but we're going to be getting to area codes 718 and 973 here up on the next segment. Everybody stand by. Third Phase of Moon. We'll be right back. Third Phase of Moon, broadcasting live from the Big Island of Hawaii, taking your calls from around the world in regards to this UFO phenomenon happening right now let's get to it. Let's bring in the callers. Area code 718. Hey, thanks for waiting. You're on live, Third Phase of Moon. What's on your mind tonight?
Brent, is that you? Hello?
Yep.
Brent?
You're
okay. So
you're talking to Blake Cousins on
hey,
Third
I'm sorry.
Phase.
It's okay. I'll get
But
to
I
talk
got
to
Brent
Brent after. So what I want to say is this: is a couple of things. If you guys seem to be so serious about what you do, but on a number of occasions, I can say to myself while I'm listening to this show, these guys are definitely being gamed, meaning that you're putting on disinformation. And one of those would be the Gaia, the find with that Gaia alien that they just found, the white covered alien that they're taking DNA samples from. Come on, you guys don't think that was real, do you? Do you honestly believe that they pulled that out of the dirt in that condition so perfectly after thousands of years of being there? That's not real. That's totally disinformation. Or, that's a plant, by people that want to portray the alien situation as something that it's not. Can you not see that Gaia is either co-opted or they just don't get it. They want to find an alien so bad that they can't even see when they're being played by the government. What do you think? That's my first question.
Well, it is a fair question, sir. And to be honest, Gaia shared this with us, and they're going, hey, look, we got this thing. They've been sitting on it for months. They said they really wanted to do their due diligence before they release this to the public. And we were within hours of Gaia's news release sharing it on Third Phase of Moon.
I get it, and I understand that you guys are excited. I see what you guys do, and I appreciate it. Believe me, we listen to the show, my girlfriend and I. We love the show. But there's been a number of occasions, like, I can't remember the guest's name. You had one of the guests you had on, and it was so obvious that you guys are so into it, but I really don't think you can see past your excitement for when you're being played. And there's so much disinformation out there, and I think the government, if we're all going to say, okay, these are replications, back-engineered replications of these UFOs and stuff, then you got to say to yourself, when you see that little plaster Paris guy that they pulled up in the Indian position or the folded arms position, that couldn't have been real. That wasn't just buried in the dirt like that and perfectly without a mark on it. Come on, that was planted. The Gaia guys are going to back up. So the Gaia guys are charging a lot of money to their website. I think they're full of.
Hold on. You're coming in a little choppy. Stay on the line, though. Maybe we'll get a bit better frequency. You can still hear me. We'll get you back on. You're coming in a little choppy, but yeah, we received this information from Gaia. They did some carbon dating on it. Yeah, it does look a little suspicious in a way, but Gaia is going to be following up on this stuff. They're out there public with this thing. They can't hide it. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. And, if I come across something that's this kind of information that nobody's ever seen before, it's kind of hard for me to go, hey, look, I don't want to share this because at Third Phase of Moon, that's not our job to suppress information. And we never claimed it was an alien body. My brother was saying the exact opposite. We have to wait and find out what this is. Could it have been some kind of constructed mummy of some sort? So we know exactly what we're looking at and releasing in this case.
It looked as fake as could be to me. Even the way they were taking it apart and taking the samples from it, that thing looked faker than fake. But it's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think that it makes sense that the government is going to do this big, lay down a lot of fake stuff right now before they're going to try and release, well, maybe there is real UFO stuff, but they're going to release a lot of fake stuff to dilute it down and water it down so we don't know what is real.
Well, that's why we put it out, and that's what's amazing, too, is because that's what this whole Third Phase of Moon is about, is getting people's opinions, and I appreciate yours just as much as anybody else's, because that's the whole reason why we do this. And we'll find out what's going to go down. We're in touch with Gaia. They say they have more updates. What would you think I should do, sir, when Gaia sends me more of this stuff and they have maybe more scientific?
I get it. I know what you're saying. How are you going to discern what is right from what is wrong, what is real from what is fake? I get it, but I just think you can't get too excited about this stuff, especially when it looks so fake. I mean, it just looked so set up and so fake. You never saw.
I got you.
Did you see a video of them pulling it from the dirt for real? I didn't. Did you? Did you see a video of them removing it from where it was found?
I did not.
You just saw it. No, of course not. None of us did because it's not there. I think personally, I think Gaia might be co-opted. That's what I think. If none of us have seen video of it getting pulled from the dirt, where did they find that? In Chile, right? Was it in Chile?
They found it in Peru, apparently, right?
Sorry. Yeah. I mean, no video of them discovering it? No video of them unearthing it? Chopping away from anything? They could have found Taco Bell.
They did kind of give a reasoning behind its white color in its appearance. And again, you didn't see us doing backflips over this either. We did one broadcast. We shared their thing, and that was it. But we will be they said they got more updates, and they said they've done some carbon dating. They're going to do some DNA test. The 3 fingers, apparently, to some orthopedic surgeon or some kind of doctor, said that, yeah, it's a possible hoax. But from what she's looking at it right now, she sees no tampering of the bone structure within this mummified, casing around it. And, we'll wait to find out. But let me ask you this.
Well, let me ask you what is Greer's? Has Stephen Greer commented on it? I don't think there's a guy more real than Stephen Greer.
Well, Dr. Stephen Greer has his own thing, too. Who knows? Maybe there's a conflict of interest. Whatever happened to the Atacama alien or, So I'm not sure the politics behind it. We try and stay out of the politics.
5-inch thing they found?
Share the information.
Yeah, I don't know. I would be interested to see what Greer says. I think, if anything, if anyone's legit, I think Greer's legit.
You know what? I'll be speaking with Dr. Greer here soon again. I just had him on like a couple weeks ago. And we're going to ask him exactly that question. What do you think of this?
I'd be interested to see what he says about the Peru punch.
Absolutely.
All right, you guys rock. Thank you so much for having me on. I love you guys.
Wait, before you go, man, have you witnessed a UFO for yourself? Have you seen anything strange in the skies?
Nah, the only thing I saw was a little Baba Booey on my ceiling. That's it. Nah, I never saw anything.
Oh, okay,
man. You guys, I think you're great, and I think you're fantastic, too. I just think you guys are the bomb. No, seriously, we're big fans. We love you. Big fans. All right?
Thank you. Thank you. And thanks for the question. Appreciate that. Yeah, we always like both sides of the argument. And that was a great caller. And you definitely got to have an open mind when it comes to some of this stuff. Don't believe everything you see. Look at it, discern what you're looking at, ask questions, and, make your own decision. Nobody's going to hold your hand, walk you down the line and go, this is fact. In this world of the UFO phenomenon, we all have yet to find the true answers. But let me tell you, haven't you heard it right here at Third Phase Moon? Thousands of callers over the years. They've got these stories. They're honest people, let me tell you, just like that last caller. I'd say 95, 98% of people that call in on the show are pretty genuine. That's my opinion on that. But, wow, what a great call. Thank you so much. And he was polite about it, too. That's good. Debunkers sometimes get a little rude and skeptics, but he wasn't even he was just like giving his opinions. And that's perfect. Okay, let's go to area code 973. You made it to Third Phase Moon. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind tonight?
Cousins.
Yeah, you got Blake Cousins on the show.
Cousins. All right. First of all, let me say that guy was from Brooklyn because that's his area code, and I apologize from the northeastern part of the country, that was a rude call and a troll. So sorry about that. But anyway, I'm from New Jersey, and I'm telling you about a call. I mean, an experience that I had 30 years ago. All right? So.
Well, that's great. That's great. 30 years ago, something happened. We're going to hear it right now, everybody. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get on it. Go for it.
Listen, I'm 54 years old. I've looked up to the sky every night because it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. The night sky, to me, every time I wake up or go to bed, I look up in the sky. Every single night I've looked up. Only one time I saw this one thing. I was driving home. Now, in northern New Jersey, you have to understand that it's the most crowded airspace in the world. I mean, there's 3 major airports in this area. But this particular night, the clouds were so low that, have you ever seen a picture of the Empire State Building where you couldn't see the top? The clouds were so low that you couldn't, it was like, have you ever seen that?
Oh yeah, when Manhattan and the clouds roll in, you can't see the top of the skyscrapers.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. It was exactly like that night. So I'm driving on a night just like that, and I'm driving where I've seen the airports. Newark is to my right, and all the airplanes are coming from my left. I've seen it 1,000 times. I've seen planes. I've seen 6 planes. 1, 2, 3. You can see them lined up in the airspace, lining up to land. But this particular night, it was so cloudy that you couldn't see anything. And I'm driving along. I see this light in the sky, and I think, that's the same thing I've always seen. And then it darts, like you couldn't believe it, right in front of me. And now I'm staring at this, I'm driving and I'm staring at this light. What is that? And then it darts down to the left and stops. And it's about 100 feet off the ground. And I'm driving and I'm looking at this and going, what is that light? And then it shoots up like a rocket. Now,
it shoots up like a what?
Like a rocket. It shot up went up into the clouds. Now, I know that it wasn't a reflection in my windshield, or there was nothing, because I saw it shoot into the clouds. And I also know that it wasn't an airplane because the clouds were so low that normally I've driven by this highway. You guys, yeah. Here's what I'll do. For your viewers, it's 40 degrees, 44 minutes, 33.24 seconds north, all right? And 74 degrees, 9 minutes, 19.67 seconds west. So that's exactly where it happened. And if you guys want to Google it, anyway, go to Google Earth. That's where it happened. It's really near Newark Airport. I've seen thousands of airplanes land. I've been on hundreds of airplanes. I've flown an airplane. I've been on helicopters. I know what airplanes can do and helicopters can do. This was not anything that any human aircraft can do. This thing darted down from the left to the right, down to the right to the left, and then shot up into the sky. Now, I have looked into the sky for years, 17,000 nights. I've only seen it one time, so I'm not a crazy person. Just once, but I saw it, and
that's all it takes. Yeah, that's all it takes. Is just one time. Just one time, and then you are a believer. You could go throughout your whole life and not see a UFO, especially if you're not looking up. And if there are people that are out there discouraged, saying, hey, look, I look up all the time hoping to see a UFO, and I have not yet to see one, well, don't worry about it. Just be patient. Something will happen, and it just takes patience. It's like fishing out there. You don't always catch. When you're out there fishing, you don't always get what you want, like the famous song out there. But the possibilities go up higher as you keep your eyes on the skies, everybody. And I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on the skies after this Coast Guard helicopter landed in our backyard. I wonder what that action's all about. We heard something of, fire trucks driving by. Maybe there's a fire down the road from us, so we're going to find out what's that all about. And I see area code 516. Area code, join me Friday night. I'll get to you, 516. I'll look for that area code. Sorry we couldn't get to you tonight, but we'll be broadcasting Friday night, taking your calls from around the world. Same time, everybody. Keep your eyes on the skies. Be safe. Thanks, everybody, on the Flash Chat for joining me tonight. Blake Cousins. We'll see you again next time.